whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show on this Thursday. Yes, almost Friday. Kind of a different show today. We will go to headlines. Of course, we're covering the very latest with all the news, of course, with Kim McAllister. But there's so many stories as of late that have to do with the role of women in 2023. And so I wanted to touch on them. I was kind of teasing them yesterday, everything with school dress codes, which we were debating yesterday because my daughter and Kim's daughter just started high school. Just, what is it? What does it mean to be a woman in 2023? And is there room for all different types of women? So we'll be discussing that. Jefferson Graham will be joining us also in the second part of the show. If you've ever been outside, looked up at the sky and been like, God, I'd love to capture that sight of all the stars. Maybe you could see the Milky Way. Jefferson Graham's going to teach us how to do that. And then I also, if we have time, I want to get into the Michael Oher Tuohys family drama. The Tuohys have responded after Michael Oher, he's an NFL football player, has come out and said, they never adopted me. It was a conservatorship. I found out so many years after. They've been, making business deals on my behalf when they shouldn't have. And I want, one, we'll touch on that. And where do you think this is coming from after all this time? And why didn't he know, right? But also there's this call for Sandra Bullock, who played the mom in the Blindside, to return her Oscar.
Why?
Exactly. I'm sorry. She was given a script. I don't think that every actor, I know they do their research and they find out about the person. I'm sure she spent a lot of time with Mrs. Tuohy. I'm blanking on her first name right now. But it just seems to me, do we ever seem to ask men after the characters they play to return their Oscars? I mean, maybe we do. I've never heard of it as much as I'm hearing Sandra Bullock's call for it. Her co-stars are saying, stop. This is ridiculous. So we'll get into that. And does it really matter? And something that also we have time in the movie realm, although we might talk about it before Tim Sika talks movies tomorrow. Bradley Cooper is being vilified for using a nose prosthetic in an upcoming movie. I think we're going a bit too far on outrage over things like this. It just seems to me, let's pick our battles, people, because if we keep going, if everything's a battle, then nothing's a battle. And that's really, it's going to be difficult. So we'll do all of that. Of course, we'll start with some headlines. But before we do that, we have to get all the business out of the way, people. All right, get your mouse, click it, or your phone with your thumb, with your internet.
Everybody at once. Make it a giant clicking.
Exactly. Just click that thumbs up button just once. YouTube loves it. It helps us out. It helps people see the show on YouTube if they've never heard of it before. So it grows our audience, and that's what we want. Of course, the super chat is live. And of course, Harry has started us off with a $5 super sticker. Happy Thursday, Harry. 1 day to go is correct. This weekend, it's crazy because I started putting all my kids' school events and everything into my phone, because if it's not in my phone, it's not happening. And I swear this week, it's been 2 weeks with school and being in San Francisco and everything. So yes, 1 day to go, Harry. And thank you so much for the super chat donation. If you want to be like Harry, just click the dollar sign. It's under the live chat box, and you can throw us a super sticker, super thanks. If it's a comment, we'll read it during the show. If it's on the replay, if you're watching on the replay, we do go back and read all of those comments. And I actually love to read the comments afterwards because it just reminds me of the conversations that we were having before. And then, of course, the number one way that you can ensure that myself and Kim are here for you is to become a monthly Patreon subscriber. So go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, click on our Patreon link. The Patreon link is also on our YouTube channel. Just look for it. Somewhere like right in under the about section, I believe it is. You can click it right from there, and you can decide for yourself how much you can afford every single month. And thank you. I usually get at least 1, 2, maybe 3 emails every single day of people donating whatever they can. And it comes with a great note. And I love reading those. So please just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up to be a monthly Patreon subscriber. You're only charged once a month. And so whatever you can afford for that month, we do appreciate it. Share the show. You can find the links at that website, the PayPal link as well. My email is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And of course, there's merchandise there at thenikkimedoroshop.com. Speaking about all these things having to do with branding, I can't forget that in about 20 minutes or so, I'll be speaking with Gabby Lowe. She works in branding and everything like that. But the reason why I wanted to bring her on is she's a digital nomad. She's actually, I think I said Australia yesterday. She's in Singapore. So she's going to be joining us live from Singapore, talking about the digital nomad life. And not only that,
cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It sounds sexy, doesn't it? I can work anywhere in the world, right? I have a laptop, internet connection, and I'm good to go. But I want to know, what's it really like to work anywhere? What kind of person is this good? What kind of personality do you need to have, I should say, to do this sort of job? And then as a woman, what is it like to kind of be this digital nomad? I don't know her relationship status, but if you're doing this on your own and alone, what is that actually like? And, some travel tips for those of us that may not be digital nomads, but, you want to go out and get there, because I can't imagine it's cheap to be, going all over the globe, literally all over the globe to do your job. So Gabby Lowe will join us in about 20 to 30 minutes from now. And so I'm really excited about that. Okay, so we are going to talk. I don't know how many of you have watched it. Let me know in the comments or are watching it. I'm watching Miss America on Hulu. And it's all about the history of Miss America, because you're not up to date on your Miss America news. In 2019, they made this huge change, in light of the Me Too movement and everything like that. And they took out the swimsuit portion of it. And so I'm watching this documentary, and they're talking to past Miss Americas, and some of them are really for it, and some of them are really against it. I think one of the past Miss Americas from Georgia is a real opponent of any of these changes, because she's saying it's not a beauty contest anymore. So my question to you guys, whether you've seen Miss America on Hulu or not, are we past the point of needing something like beauty pageants? Or is there still this, desire to see women specifically, display their best attributes, whether that's physical or a talent, speech? Because again, and I also want to add this before we go to Kim's news, the Miss America organization gives out so many scholarships to women. So it's not as if they're walking their ass on stage in a bikini and they're not getting anything on the back end. It's not as if all the money that goes into that isn't in the same vein helping some of these young women out. But do we need to do it this way? And would you watch it? I mean, it doesn't exist anymore, but do you watch Miss America even though there is no longer a swimsuit competition? And throughout the morning, either before Gabby or after, I want to get into the idea of modesty. And can you, in 2023, be a traditional wife where you give to your husband decision-making powers over your guys' life together? Is there anything wrong with that? Do you welcome, kind of, I don't need to worry about that kind of lifestyle? Or is that a completely backwards way of thinking? Because while some young influencers are promoting this quote unquote traditional wife life, you have on the flip side very powerful women, a lot of messaging to be a powerful woman. Look at Barbie, right? The Barbie movie specifically, and the message that came from that. Look at Taylor Swift, right? Beyonce, strong women that are using their skill and their talent at driving economies. Remember all those stories about how much money all the cities that Taylor Swift specifically goes to, and the economic driver that she is? She is so at the top of her game. At Arizona State University, there is actually a Taylor Swift psychology class that students can take. This isn't fluff, and I'll give you some details on what they mean by looking into the Taylor Swift psychology. All right, we're going to talk about all that. I know it's a lot and more right after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your Street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, it is the Nikki Medoro Show. Good morning to you. We're going to jump right into the news, and we will start with Hawaii. Here is a picture of the wreckage of part of Lahaina on the island of Maui, and now the death toll has jumped to 111. This devastating fire ripped through Lahaina. It's now the deadliest wildfire in modern U.S. history. Estimates are that the economic cost to Maui could approach $7 billion. So there's about 2,000 people still without power in this area. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden are expected to visit Maui on Monday. Again, the death toll at 111, only 35% of the town has been searched. So the number's sure to rise. And the what I understand now is it fluctuated, but at least 1,000 people remain unaccounted for. Now, that could be that people's cell phones burned, and so they have no way to contact anyone or reach out, or it could be that they didn't survive. So in the coming days, we'll find out how many people have passed. But at this time, it's 111.
Well, one of the saddest things, Kim, that I read yesterday, and this whole thing is just tragedy upon tragedy, that as we have our children starting school, is what they're so fearful of, is there's a lot of children among this because school was not in session. So parents, what do parents do? They go to work and their kids are at home. And so I'm just praying that that's not the case. And it's what you're talking about, that, they just haven't been accounted for because there's no way of getting a hold of people. But it's something to keep in mind on top of this tragedy. What is that building? Do you know what that building is that we're looking at, Kim, in this picture that seems to have not been touched too much by the fire because colors are still on the building?
I think it was a shopping center, but I don't know exactly which one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
It seems kind of like a strip mall or maybe some type of shopping center. But again, I'm not sure. I don't think it was a condominium complex, but it's hard to know. I mean, because I don't remember the colors. It looks like a rainbow of some type of building, and it might be what was underneath. So I don't know. But yeah, I heard that about children being left home alone.
Yeah.
And when we hear that this fire moved 1 mile per minute, it's hard to think of kids being able to understand what was happening and get out.
Exactly.
So I hope that that we don't see children.
No, nobody wants to see anybody.
No. Let's move on because there he is. Hello.
Oh, what a great picture with that mouth.
Former President Trump's legal team is now urging him to cancel a planned news conference for Monday. That, according to ABC News, which cited multiple sources familiar with the matter. Trump had promised to present evidence that he said would exonerate, in capitals, him of criminal conspiracy charges in Georgia. ABC News says Trump's legal advisors have told him holding this news conference would complicate his legal issues. It's right, because everything you say can be held against you in a court of law. A Georgia grand jury indicted Trump and 18 co-defendants earlier this week in connection with alleged efforts to overturn the state's 2020 election results. So will he get up and give his little, the fix is in, here's the evidence that... he would think he will. Like, he can't help himself, can he? Oh. Here is another president, this time the one that's sitting in office, and he will be hosting his Japanese and South Korean counterparts at Camp David on Friday. The first time these leaders will hold a standalone meeting discussing strengthening relations in the Indo-Pacific. White House National Security Advisor John Kirby earlier this week said the nations are working on taking cooperation to new heights. The meeting comes amid growing concerns over North Korea and China. So they all gather at Camp David to kind of hash all this stuff out. Speaking of things going on in the Pacific, there's a new storm system strengthening into a hurricane in the Pacific Ocean southwest of Mexico. Hurricane Hillary is forecasted to intensify into a Category 4 storm with winds up to 130 miles an hour this weekend. The storm is expected to weaken before it hits Southern California and then areas southwest, but it may bring heavy rain and flooding to Southern California. It is also expected to make landfall in the U.S. Sunday night into Monday morning, and we could see some summer rain come to the Bay Area.
I was
because of
looking Monday
Hurricane
and
Hillary.
Tuesday. Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. I was looking. It's going to be like 86 in San Jose, and there's a 30% portion of San Jose that could see some rain. It's crazy.
It's weird because we don't usually get rain this time of year, right? I mean,
I know, but I mean, at the other end, I'm like, maybe it's good because usually these things also bring some high winds with it, right? So we know the fire danger. We've been down this before, so maybe if there's moisture in the air, that's going to be a good thing. I don't know. I'm not a weather forecaster.
I don't know, but it seems it's one of these, when it starts raining and it's also been muggy lately, I start thinking, oh, earthquake weather. Here we go.
I know.
I don't want to say it, but
You
I
said it already. You jinxed
There
it.
it goes. Knock on wood that didn't happen. Let's talk about Nikki Haley. Here she is. She says, yeah, I don't run to be second. I'm sorry. That's not the way it works. Nikki Haley, she's a Republican presidential hopeful, is dismissing claims that she is running in the 2024 race to get the vice presidency. In an interview with Politico, the former South Carolina governor said, "We have a country to save. I don't trust anybody else to do it." She says she doesn't run for second. Haley was the first major Republican to announce a primary challenge to former President Trump, again, currently considered to be the party's frontrunner and on trial for all kinds of things. Haley served as a UN ambassador during the Trump administration. It's funny, while you were gone, someone posed the question, given all the indictments hurling and flying against Trump, who signs up to be Trump number 2? Like, who signs up to be his vice president?
I mean, because it really worked out well for Pence. You know what I mean? Like, no.
And like, how do you like that place in history for yourself? Right?
Yeah. I don't think anybody runs. I don't think anybody runs to be vice president. I really don't think that Trump's going to win, God forbid. But he is going to choose someone like Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake would love to be a Trump number 2. You know what I'm saying? Not Nikki Haley. Now, I will say this, though. I don't care who wins the nomination. If it's not Nikki Haley and they go, hey, do you want to run with me? She's going to say yes so freaking quickly. So let's not act like she's not going to be number 2 if she doesn't get the number 1 nomination. So stop.
You think she would? I don't know if she would.
Oh, she totally would. Are you kidding me? That's like one step closer to the White House. You're not going to take, obvious. I mean, it matters. But look what Mike Pence did. Mike Pence, remember his wife was pissed that he said yes to Trump to be vice president. She was not happy about it at all. And he still did it because political aspirations, my friend, they're very strong.
This is Jerry Moss. He is the co-founder of A&M Records, and he has died at the age of 88. A&M, of course, rose to prominence in the 1960s behind the Tijuana Brass, growing more in the next 2 decades. The label continued to bloom thanks to Supertramp, Peter Frampton, The Police, The Go-Go's, Bryan Adams, Janet Jackson. And both Moss and his business partner, Herb Alpert, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as non-performers in 2006. So again, Jerry Moss, co-founder of A&M Records, has died at the age of 88.
Wow.
In Southern California, they're having a bit of a problem with the thought of field trips. Los Angeles Unified School District students won't be able to go on some field trips unless a dispute over liability is resolved. The district is unable to schedule field trips to more than 180 Los Angeles County parks and recreation areas until it signs a contract with the Parks Department. That contract requires the school district to accept most of the responsibility for any potential risks related to bringing children to park facilities. It also requires the district to provide proof of liability insurance to the county. About 40 school districts have signed the agreements, but the Los Angeles Unified School District says the county is asking it to take on too much liability here. A compromise is reportedly being hammered out, but an agreement might come too late for this semester's field trip calendar. So
I swear to God, it's really sad to see some of the things that happen at schools because as these things are happening, kids are losing out. It sucks. Like, look what happened in Kentucky, right? They don't have enough bus drivers. And so kids weren't able to go to school. We need to get it together. Teacher shortage. I love, and I always like it when I see it on my feeds, the whole idea of a quote unquote teacher shortage and how there's not a teacher shortage. There's a shortage of people that are going to put up with that job for the low pay that they get. There is not a qualified, skilled teacher shortage. They're just fed up being treated like crap and not paid enough. And then I think you mentioned it in your news last week, that teacher that got shot by her student, and they won't pay her workman's comp claim because they say it's a hazard of the job. Getting shot at
asinine.
School. Like, and then you wonder why people aren't lining up to work as a teacher.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I feel for kids in these districts. And LA is huge. We're talking about a lot of kids here.
Oh, this is nice. We'll end this way. Okay. This is the Massachusetts island of Nantucket, and it is being named the world's most expensive beach destination. Guess we won't be going there. Oh, well. That according to the website travelmag.com, which uses hotel prices as a factor. The Italian village of Positano came in at second, and Montauk, New York, placed third. Other U.S. cities in the top 10: Kennebunkport, Maine; Provincetown, Massachusetts; Bar Harbor, Maine; and Santa Monica, California. These are the most expensive places to go as far as hotel rooms and being.
Well, I mean, but it's also gorgeous. I can understand that because come on now, if you want a hotel with that view, and there doesn't look like there's a ton of them, right? I mean, you only have so much beachfront or what have you. So yeah, it makes sense that they're expensive. Everything's friggin' expensive, Kim. Drives me nuts.
Prices, prices and the normal people out, though. It's a bummer that, not everyone can go enjoy. But
you're not rich, you can't get a beachfront property. Nope.
Exclusive for the playland for the rich, I guess. And that's the way it is.
Exactly.
Oh, this show is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. Find us at the NikkiMedoroShow.com. Patreon links there, PayPal links there, and more. If you haven't been there, please go explore. And thank you very much. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show.
And a thank you to Hula staff for the $3 super sticker, in addition to Harry's $5 super sticker. So yeah, the super chat is live. It's a way for you to donate to the show, and we appreciate it. I do want to let you know, Kim, that where is it? I want to give her credit. It's right here. Okay, so Kay, where are you, Kay? There we go. Kay found the building in Lahaina. It is an apartment building. That colorful.
Oh. Okay.
Which sucks. Now, I wasn't saying that it wasn't burned at all, but I was encouraged by the fact that we could still see the color on that building, which just stands out. So I'm just hopeful that means at least some people were safe. It's just just devastating. It's really, really devastating what has happened there. And we're gonna and then tomorrow, Kim let me know yesterday, and I reached out to him, Stephen Espanola, who we've had on the show to play the ukulele. He's an award-winning ukulele player. Is he behind the fundraiser? He's promoting a fundraiser to raise money for the victims of the Maui fire, which is so important. So we'll hope to get him on tomorrow.
A benefit concert that will be held in Berkeley at the Salvage. All the big named Hawaiian entertainers that make the Bay Area their home will be participating, including Faith Ako will be there. So we'll talk a little bit more about it and help promote the show. Hopefully we'll get Stephen on tomorrow.
Yeah, so I reached out to him. So hopefully, fingers crossed. And of course, Fridays are always fun. We have food, which I have no idea what I'm going to be eating for tomorrow, but something yummy. If you guys have something for me, let me know. And then, of course, Tim Sika will be on tomorrow. Also, to let you know, programming note, I'm trying to get Loretta Lynch on. There have been so many PG, especially with the Maui fires. Everyone's thinking about these things. San Jose Power. San Jose is considering, starting their own utility. So we have all kinds of electricity focus stories, and of course Loretta was once with the CPUC, so we're trying to get her on hopefully next week. So we have all that coming up. Also, stay with us. In a few moments, we will be speaking with Gabby Lowe. She has her own, she's a CEO of Branding with Gabby, where she helps people, obviously brand their companies and reach new clients. And I love how she said with 0 ad spend, which is the best number for everything. So she has some tips and tricks, but I wanted to talk to her because she's a digital nomad, which means she can work anywhere in the world. And I wanted to know what that kind of life was like. So that's coming up in about 5 minutes or so. And again, we are going to be talking a lot about the role of women. And I'm going to be asking her what it's like to be a digital nomad and a woman with Gabby Lowe. But there is this show on Hulu, Miss America. I was looking at it and I forgot to keep it up on my phone. So I was watching it last night and I get enthralled, Kim, with these documentaries and everything like that. Now, and I don't keep up with Miss America. I was a dancer. And so I understand, there was competitions and all sorts of things to be like Miss whatever. And a lot of my friends in dance would do these sorts of things. And I was never one to do it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of, I don't want to be judged on this. So yeah, so this is a series. It has 4. Okay. So I watched 2 episodes. There's more episodes, but the episode I was watching yesterday had to do with the fact that it changed in 2019 in light of the Me Too movement, right? Mm-hmm. I guess the head of the Miss America organization was in emails found to be bashing Miss Americas, past Miss Americas. And, all these emails were exposed and then he had to step down. And so they were remaking this whole entire organization. Well, one of the people that was behind the reorganization and the rebranding of Miss America was Gretchen Carlson. And you will remember Gretchen Carlson on Fox News. She was part of the whole, Me Too movement with Fox News and everything like that. And so she started this whole new board. She was part of the board. And one of the things that they wanted to do, they wanted to get rid of the swimsuit competition. Did you know, these are just fascinating things. Did you know that when they put out all the information on the Miss America contestants, they don't put, what your grade point average was. They don't put, they don't tell you what college you went to. They put your measurements. They put your literal measurements, 26, 34, 26, whatever. It was how big your boobs and your butt and your waist were. That's what they were promoting. And so they we're going to get rid of the swimsuit competition that led to eating disorders. These girls were becoming shells of themselves. They were interviewing past Miss Americas that went through all of this. But some people are saying, how can we have a beauty pageant without a judge on beauty? And I think, can you rebrand? I guess this is a better question. Can you rebrand Miss America to not be a beauty pageant?
No, it is a beauty pageant. That's the whole point, and you're never going to have an ugly Miss America. They just won't do it. You're not going to have an. You're not.
Does amazing things. I'm just going to let you know.
You're not going to have. There's no ugly Miss America coming our way. It is a beauty pageant that also hands out scholarships, right?
Yes, a lot of scholarships.
And is it okay to say that we celebrate beauty in this culture? Or are we getting to the point where the what we considered beautiful is changing, and so it's a beauty pageant in a different way?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like, and also there's an expectation that people have when they watch Miss America. It's a stage full of hot young girls, right? That's what they're tuning in for. Oh, look at all the lovely young American women, right? That's what the expectation is. Right. And so is it going to have an audience if it's a stage full of normal ladies? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm a normal lady. I'll be right up there competing for my, college scholarship if I was of that age. Yeah. But I just don't see it changing that much. We pay lip service to, let's do the right thing here. And I'm not going to say let's be woke, because I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Right. But we pay lip service to, let's include the overweight, and let's include the people that, aren't traditionally what we consider to be the, what do they call Bo Derek a 10, right? Mm-hmm. It's not I think way.
This is
Can you imagine? No. Can you imagine? We've had Miss Americas with disabilities, so that's more inclusive and nice. But there's not going to be an ugly one. I'm sorry.
And it is the brand of, and I'm seeing a lot in the comments, it is the brand of Miss America. And how can you really change the brand of something and still keep it alive? Because the Miss America pageant has been around for like 100 years or something like that. There's not much that lasts 100 years and still exists. So it does need to evolve and change. And, since we're speaking of branding and because she's in Singapore and it's very, very early in the morning in Singapore right now, I want to bring on Gabby Lowe. Gabby, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you staying up.
Hi.
Gabby is in Singapore, and she does branding with Gabby. I have the link in the show notes. So if you want to check out her website, please do. She helps business leaders, small business owners attract clients, zero ad spend, which is the dollar amount I love. And she used to work in the military as an artillery officer and military
Wow.
psychologist. And then she says, you got sucked into the startup world for the past 10 years. And again, you've lived in places like Singapore, London, Seoul. Welcome to the show, Gabby. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Q. And hi to everybody.
Hi.
So the reason why I had posted on our podcast network that I was looking for digital nomads. And I'm fascinated by the idea of working anywhere. So myself and Kim, just to let you know, Gabby, we used to work at a traditional radio station and then it flipped formats, as is the case. And so we needed to pivot. And so we work from home, but working at home versus working anywhere in the world is completely different. So explain to people who may not know exactly what a digital nomad is.
So according to AI or Bard, they're telling me that digital nomad is anywhere. So it could be in a bathroom in your house. It could be in a toilet of a hotel. So for me, I like to work in places that are quiet, away from people, because Singapore is a very crowded space. So I think it's really about having a choice to decide which location makes you most productive. So that's the definition of digital nomad for me.
I was doing a little dig on you, and I know that you write some blog posts for Medium, okay? And I was reading some of them. And one of them that you wrote is why you are not suited to be a digital nomad. What kind of person do you need to be to live this kind of lifestyle?
You have to be somebody who's willing to accept change and to live in a location and to eat food, to speak a language or understand language that you're not familiar with. Then, of course, as a nomad, you can choose where you want to visit, depending on your visa requirements. So I chose the most difficult place you could imagine, which is South Korea. I hardly spoke a word of Korean. Unfortunately, but fortunately, the people there speaking understand English. It's just that they are not so open about it because their first language is Korean. And I realized that if you're not open to trying new cuisines, you're not open to making friends who are complete strangers who don't speak your English, your native tongue, it's going to be very difficult for you. Yeah.
I don't want to get personal, but I will. Are you married? Do you have kids? I mean, I can't imagine this lifestyle is made for someone like myself or Kim. We're married. We have kids in school. It has to be difficult.
That's right. No, I'm single, so it's really much easier for me. I can just pack my suitcase and go, okay, just this month I'm going to spend 1 month in Chiang Mai. Last month I was in London. So that was great. Yeah, but the jet lag, it really kills me. So I think so I'm in my 40s. The older you get, right, the harder it is to recover from jet lag. Yeah. So I would say choose places that are, time zone friendly for your clients as well. So fortunately, the UK and Singapore, the time zones was like 6 to 8 hours, so it wasn't so bad. And I like that I'm familiar with London. I lived there for 3 years before, friends there. So I think it's also finding a location where you can also find foods that you eat comfortably. Right. If you got a whole lot of allergies, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, I like that it's a lifestyle that doesn't let work hold you back from experiencing the world. Because most of us feel like we're stuck in the same place. Maybe we feel like we don't have the money to travel, or we need to have the certainty of where we're going to get up and set up shop. But there's kind of a freedom, it seems like, to just being able to pick up and go wherever you want to. And, as long as you have certain needs met, it's all going to be okay. And I don't know if this is only something you do for a certain portion of your life, or if it's a lifestyle you adopt and this is the way it's going to be forever, that you love this lifestyle and you wouldn't change it. What are your thoughts?
I don't think I want to do this forever, because I was telling Nikki that I only do nomading part-time because I look after my elderly parents. They're in their 70s. So on one occasion, I had to cut short my trip because my father had a fall and I had to be around to look after him. So it really depends on our life cycle. Like, you guys, these ladies have kids now, but when your kids grow up, you can travel anywhere. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it's really your life stage cycle. So for me right now, I can travel, but not 24/7, not for 12 months in a year. But I would like to do that at some point. But I would like to settle down. Maybe 6 months I'll stay in Singapore. Another 6 months I'll be in another country. So that's my ideal retirement plan. So I'm hoping to move towards that right now with a business that's online. So you ladies can do that later. Who knows? I might meet you in Bali or
There you go.
Thailand. That'd be great.
What travel tips as a woman being a digital nomad traveling to these countries? Now, obviously, you've been doing it for a while, so maybe you're used to it. But if a young woman is watching right now, or any age woman, and they're like, okay, I want to try this. Is
I would say
it hard for a woman to do this alone?
it is not hard. So you can choose to stay in a co-living space. Co-living spaces are huge now. So you can get to meet friends, you can make sure you're not traveling alone. So for me, I don't want to live with too many young people because they give me too many problems. So so I will make sure I never share that I'm traveling alone. Right? If I go to certain places, I will not check in live. I will post about the places later on the on the internet. And I make sure I have some kind of self-defense skill. So being in the military help because I can kickbox and pretty much manhandle any guy. So life skills important. Learn how to fight, ladies. It's important. And make sure if you have any allergies, make sure you're clear on what your allergies are. So before you enter a restaurant, before you order food, tell them you're allergic to eggs or milk or whatever. And most places are willing to accommodate. Yeah. So those are the essential 3 tips.
What is the biggest pro and what is the biggest con of being a digital nomad?
The biggest pro is, can I say this live? You can just walk around in your singlet and short, nobody cares, or naked for all you want. If you live alone in Airbnb. And the con is that sometimes it can get a bit lonely, especially if the people around you don't understand you or speak your language. But this is the internet. You can always just talk with friends on Zoom or family on a phone call. But
What's the
definitely? Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what's the coolest place you've been?
I think the best place I've been is this island called Jeju Island. It's in South Korea. So just like a 10-minute walk to the beach. I could see older ladies diving in early in the morning, evening, just to collect seafood. So these ladies are called henyo. Amazing place. You have to visit Jeju Island. And you have fresh fruit and vegetables that's grown anywhere. And the place, place is just amazing. There are mountains, there's a sea. You can go hiking, you can go swimming, and the prices there are very friendly, wallet friendly.
Yeah,
that's important. Yeah.
You mentioned the paying for this whole entire type of lifestyle, and again, the link to Gabby's company, Branding with Gabby, GABI.com. It's in the show notes. Talk a little bit about kind of your business and how you developed this business. And, you talk about not spending a lot of money on branding because people really want to make their business and their brand go, but may not have a lot of, startup money. Talk a little bit about what you do for people.
So essentially, I am just helping individuals as well as small business owners to build their brands from scratch. And maybe because it's in my context, we are so shy about selling ourselves and our high income skills, our values and our characters. I think both of you ladies are doing quite well. I can see that both of you are building your brands quite well. So people are often very shy to talk about it online. They have imposter syndrome. They think about, what if people criticize me? What if people reject me? But who cares? You're building your own brand. So, and what small business owners, the mistake they make is they build their business brand instead of their personal brand because people relate to people. Right? If you talk about, if you have a live show like you ladies, or you're active on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever platform, people will notice. But make sure you do things that you're great at and make sure you're always being honest. So if you say that you hate if you don't smoke, so make sure you don't smoke. If you're a vegan, then make sure you're vegan. Don't lie. Just be truthful. Be yourself, right? And have strong opinions. That's what I always tell my clients. And do not be shy, to talk about what you're great at. Because I think women are really bad at that sometimes. We downplay ourselves. We let the men take charge. But no, if you're a business leader, if you're an entrepreneur, talk about what you're good at. Don't be shy about it, but be consistent about it. All right, and the clients will come. I have not ran a single ad. My business has been about 6 months now. I used to do this for other people. I with their brands, and I thought, hey, it's high time for me to build my own brand. And that's how it started. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how long do you think you're going to stay a digital nomad?
I hope for at least the next 5 years until my knees are too until my knees are too bad, or I can't move around much. I like to do that for as long as possible.
That is awesome. Well, Gabby, I appreciate you staying up late. I think it's like almost 1:00 in the morning right now. So I appreciate you coming on because I'm just fascinated by it. Keep in contact. We now follow each other on all the social medias and everything. And again, brandingwithgabby.com. She's right now based in Singapore, but she can help you no matter where you are because that's her lifestyle and her job.
Awesome.
Gabby, thank you so much for coming on the Nikki Medoro Show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, ladies. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I love how Gabby says, I love how she mentions the food and like there's the reality day to day, moment by moment, like reality of living this lifestyle. And so I just find it absolutely, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. Could you do something like that, you think? If you didn't have the husband and the kids, of course.
I don't think I don't want to say it's not in my personality, but I'm kind of more of a, like, I need to be in my home base. I need to be in my own bed. I need
my own toilet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also, there's something to the excitement of seeing the world. And I'm in many cases, and not everyone, because everyone makes different choices in life. But in my case, there would have been a certain window of opportunity where that lifestyle, I could have just taken off and gone for it. Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to that where, you have this window of time, at least in my, life, where you could see the world and experience things that are completely different from the life, here in California.
Exactly.
And I really like the idea of that. I wouldn't be upset if my children did that and had that experience. It's really valuable. But I, like her, I don't know if I could do it forever. So I'm glad she's having the opportunity. I was touched when she started talking about being lonely, though.
Yeah.
Because I could see after a certain amount of time where, these aren't your friends or family. These aren't your people that you need, you want, have that longing to be with. And so I could see that. But what a life. You have to have some bravery to go out and do that.
Exactly.
Too.
And just, I always feel when I see people living a life like this, that it is a kind of a double-edged sword, right? You're lonely, yet the world is kind of your home, and the people that you meet and then can return to, right? So, if you've never met anybody from South Korea and you go and you live there for 6 months to a year, you will meet people. And then when you go back, you have this quote unquote type of family that you can go back to. But yeah, I think I'd be too lonely. I like to stay close. And again, I mean, I'm at that age where I want my kids to have stability. And so that means being here. Okay. I know and so many of you, and thank you for your comments regarding Gabby and everything like that, but a lot talking about what we were talking about. So let's get back into it, which is the Miss America pageant and whether or not, and I want to also bring in the other topics as well of what does it mean to be a woman in 2023? Is there room for beauty pageants anymore? Like literally walking across the stage in a bathing suit, being judged by your physical appearance. Yes, there are scholarships, but let's just be honest, right? I mean, it's like the Victoria's Secret Angels, whatever fashion show.
Right.
People watch that because chicks are in their bras and underwear.
That's
with
right.
Big fat wings on. Nobody's
and they're
watching
gorgeous
this or anything else. And they're gorgeous. Right. Now, again, going back to the gorgeous thing, Kim, I really do think that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think, and I'm going to be a little probably non-PC when I say this,
then
there are models
in magazines look the same. Why things are changing, but
but face wise, I think that makeup does a lot. And I'm being kind of mean when I say that, but I'll see some like top end, fashion models. And I wouldn't say that they're the traditional beauty, but you know what they all are? Skinny as hell.
Yeah.
They're skinny as hell. And that was the thing with the Miss America pageant. If you go back 100 years, the bathing suits definitely got skimpier, right? They would wear one pieces usually. but also the women looked like real women back in the day. Yeah, they were skinny. You weren't seeing any, maybe plumper women in the beauty pageant, but it did seem more normal, if that makes sense. They had thighs. It wasn't like skin on top of bone. And they have, as I was watching this documentary on Hulu regarding Miss America, it's more focused on skinnier and more athletic and more muscular, right? So it's just as if you're doing bodybuilding competitions where they're tanning to show off the definition of their muscles, when back in the day, curves were curves. You wanted to have curves. Now it's like, oh my God, I have to get rid of that one curve right there because it doesn't play well on television.
Where it seems like things are changing, though, is in selling clothes to women. I was at a mall this week for back to school shopping.
Right.
I don't often go to the mall. And so maybe this has been going on for a while and I just now saw it. We walked past a Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
And there's 2 mannequins in the open storefront. And one of them is a chunky mannequin. Like,
and what do you mean by chunky?
I mean, usually if the mannequin is thin, this mannequin had
like
some
a
meat on
Torrid
it.
mannequin, the store Torrid.
Oh, I've not been to it, but maybe, yeah.
It's like a plus size store. And
yeah, it was I would call it a plus size mannequin.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
I had not seen a plus size mannequin before. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then
that's good.
Even online, if you're, flipping through pictures of online, they'll give you the picture now. Here's what it looks like on this body style. Here's what it looks like on this body style. They'll even say, here's Charlene. She's 5'9" and 102 pounds. Here's Kim. She's whatever and extra large or whatever. So it's interesting. That has changed. So with that, maybe our perception of, I don't know, what we'll look at is changing.
Yeah, and I've seen this too, Eric, quote unquote, which I don't even like the term chunky because we're so brainwashed into thinking that skinny mannequin is what most of us look like. And it's not. No. That's not what most women look like. Right? It's not at all. So we really need to start demanding and buying. We always talk about, the best way to express yourself economically is with your dollar, right? Tell the manufacturers, tell the stores what you want by buying it. Don't squeeze yourself into a top that you don't even like, but that's what's in, because then they're just going to make more of that crap, right? Speaking of clothes and modesty, I had teased this a little bit yesterday. Candace Cameron Bure and her daughter. You'll see her right there. Candace Cameron's on the right. Her daughter is on the left. Her daughter was talking about how she's now going to be dressing more modestly to kind of more align with her faith. She says she's going to be showing less skin. She says, modesty and I have come a long way, truthfully. A year or two ago, I dressed completely different and showed way more of my body than I ever needed to. She says that her Christian values, regarding her Christian values, that she was finding my worth and thinking that showing more skin was attractive. I actually think the opposite now. I think dressing classy and upholding modesty is so beautiful. I actually feel myself 100 times more, and I'm so much more confident in outfits that show less skin. Thoughts? Do you think that it's wrong to promote? And I'm not like, you could dress any way you want to, but it's the promotion of it. Do you have a problem with that?
Hey, more power to her.
Yeah.
Wear whatever you want. Whatever you believe looks good on you or aligns with your religion or whatever, then you do you.
Right.
But I don't think you have, here's where it becomes sticky for me, that you have someone like this who now is saying it's against my self-worth to wear anything that shows some skin. And then it's turned around and used as a judgment against other people who do.
There you go.
I'm so righteous that this is the way it is for me. So this is the way it should be for everyone. And if you don't agree with me, then, you're trash, whatever. That's where I have a problem with it. Like if some other actress wants to appear in a, Hallmark holiday movie or whatever their network is,
Right.
And her Christmas dress shows a little, it's strapless and shows a little side boob. Go ahead, do what you got to do. I just don't want the Christian religion. I don't like it when it's used as a tool for judgment.
Right. Well, it apparently the younger generation, not just Candace Cameron Bure's daughter Natasha, but a lot of young quote unquote influencers, because again, the way people get their information, the trends and everything, it starts on social media. That's why I'm saying influencers. It's a wide spectrum, it seems like right now. So you have people promoting modesty. You have people like, now this is obviously kind of an exaggerated depiction, but there is this trad wife trend going on. Hashtag trad wife, which is short for traditional wife.
Oh.
Okay. These are young women. I am talking, young 20s, marrying age, just married, newlyweds. And they are very excited to hop on social media and talk about being a traditional wife. And some people are saying this is where it gets dangerous. So you could find anyone that you want to, but I found this one influencer. Her name's Soli. And this is just one of her. Let me share my screen actually, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So these are some of the things that they post on their Instagram. Now I'll read it to you, but you'll just see that it's on Instagram. This is Soli. She's walking with her husband. She says, "I'm glad that I learned what godly submission is about. The world twists it. The world twists it and makes it out to be something it's not. And that influences many people today. But God's way is best." And then she goes on to write, hold on, I was going to go backwards. She basically was going on to say that true biblical submission, this is a response, is actually submitting to one another, not a hierarchy system. God created us equal and values women just as much as men. Leadership is servant leadership in setting the example and following Christ. So basically, this Soli woman is saying that she likes the fact that she doesn't have to think about these things, that she trusts her husband to make decisions that are in the best interest of her and her family. Now, just on that note, that takes a lot of trust, right? She's like, he does listen to my opinion, but she, kind of relegates the decision-making to him. Can a traditional wife still be, can you be a feminist and a traditional wife? Can you still believe in making a decision about how you want to be? Or is it, nope, this is the worst thing ever?
This really rubs me the wrong way. I have to tell you, I feel like a repression kink, says Heather. I feel like usually I would be, as long as you're not hurting anybody, do your thing. This is the way you want to live. It hurts no one else. Go ahead.
Right.
I think, though, this woman may be or may not be in for a rude awakening. So many women back in the day, when it was, your thing was you graduate from high school, you get married, you have kids, you take care of them, you have a bit of old age and you die, right? That was our cycle.
Right.
A lot of women realized, if in the 60s and 70s, when divorce became more prominent, if their husbands left, they had no job.
And nothing.
They couldn't even make decisions for themselves. All of a sudden, they're thrust into this life where, oh, this is real. Now I have to, it was a sink or swim and they couldn't swim.
Yep. Exactly.
So she's, I love that she's got all this trust in her husband, but if her husband's eye wanders and he's out, what happens to her?
What happens to her?
She doesn't have any work history, likely. She doesn't have, I don't know if she has any credit. If she has a credit card in her name, she's all worried about submission and whatnot. Has she set herself up for any type of success or any type of being able to be independent later on? My parents got divorced. My mom said, listen, one thing I can tell you, always keep your own bank account.
Yeah.
Always.
Make your own money. Have your own money.
Always have a backup plan.
Yeah.
You could be married and be the happiest couple in the world. Always have a backup plan. Don't ever get caught where you don't have a backup plan. And my mom was a teacher. She has a teacher's pension. She's okay. Everything worked out for her. But I worry about women like this. Yeah. So on one hand, I say, you do you and do what you got to do. But on the other hand, don't be stupid.
Don't be dumb.
Have a backup plan. What are you going to do if your marriage falls apart? Okay, maybe his eye doesn't wander. Maybe he drops dead tomorrow, gets hit by a Mack truck. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Don't be a moron.
Yeah. Natalie
Let
says
him make all the decisions, my ass.
The problem with most trad wife trends is that the power gets to people's heads. You give up your power, and most quote unquote partners will abuse that for their own gain. Exactly. I mean, not saying that they will, but it's just that is a lot of trust. Now, Randy brings up this question, which is interesting. He says, so if someone gets on social media, talks about wearing more modest clothes and doesn't mention anything religious, that's okay. But if religion is mentioned, that makes it judgmental. I wouldn't use the word judgmental, but I will say, because I did a deep dive in this whole trad wife trend and hashtag, they bring up religion. It's what did God say? Now I'm going to read for you. Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to read this to you. So when God, this is the quote in the Bible that a lot of people mention. In God's sovereign plan, he has assigned that role to the husbands, being the leader. Biblical submission is lived out by deferring to the leadership of another. As John Piper puts it, submission is the divine calling of a wife to honor and affirm her husband's leadership and help carry it through according to her gifts. And then there's this one influencer, Esty Williams, who says, we as women have realized we can compete with men, yes, but at what cost? I see women moving away from their roots to compete with men. That's not the way it should be. We are women and we need to embrace that.
What? So you're telling me that because he has a penis, he gets to be the leader automatically?
That's what they want.
Your body parts then dictate your leadership? You're not looking at the person's capabilities. There are some marriages where, God love this fella, but he has no business making any financial decisions. Yeah. So you're saying we can't use our strengths? We can't, bring what we have to the relationship? I think there's relationships work in all different kinds of ways. If we're supposed to submit, then why did God give me free will?
That's a very good question. Now, SD says trad wives also believe they should submit to their husbands and serve their husbands and family. And that triggers people because of the word submit and serve. It makes women think that they're saying we're less than. But that's not what we're saying. She said instead, she insists trad wives are willing homemakers who hold traditional values. She told the New York Post that both the traditional and modern woman can coexist. Maintaining a career and being a homemaker is just too difficult in her eyes. So she's saying, if you want to take care of the home, the children, be there, make sure it's clean. And again, I'm going to go on record and saying that's a choice. And I'm not knocking that choice. If that's what you want to do, fine. She says being a traditional wife means disregarding society standards of women being career oriented and choosing to focus completely on your own family and their needs. But then it goes back to what you were just saying, Kim. What happens when your leader, I shouldn't say leader, but the leader of the family, right? Yeah. The husband F's around on you. Do you just swallow it? Well, that's what he needs to do. What kind of mental gymnastics do you need to do to stay in that situation?
Well, he's in charge.
In there.
Yeah. He's in charge. He gets to make those choices, but you can't do that.
Yeah, it's just, it boggles my mind. And again, as a feminist, I believe in choice, right? You as a woman can choose. Now, if you were choosing to live this life, right? And you chose your role in your household, there comes with consequences, right? And also there's consequences for being a career-oriented woman. For some women, that means I don't have time for a family. I don't have time for X, Y, and Z that I may want, but I don't have time for. Right. On the other hand, there's consequences to being a traditional wife. I'm not yucking the yum of trad wife. I'm just saying, you're putting yourself in a very delicate position if and when your husband F around on you and you don't have anything anymore. There's a reason why women wanted to work and have credit cards and have the power to do that. It's because they were screwed over a lot in the past and they were done with it.
You know what? I was reading a story about women who are widows and how there's a trend that they're not getting remarried as much as they used to. And the reason is because it turns out, like the freedom, right? So these are women that may have been in traditional relationships where you have to account to a person for everything, or include someone else in your decision making process, and then they find themselves after a couple years alone thinking, well, this isn't, I mean, it's sad that you lost your spouse, but in terms of lifestyle and getting to make your own choices and
Mhm.
having the freedom to just be, there's something to that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll read some more of your comments. I'm seeing a lot of strong opinions in the comments. First, we'll
Mm.
do some headlines with Kim. We also have Jefferson Graham waiting, so we want to get to him as well. If you've ever looked up at the night sky and been like, how do I capture something like that? Jefferson has you covered, as he always does on Photowalks TV. Again, click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show. I will read more of your comments after Jefferson Graham, of course. And yeah, here's Kim with the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Let's start back in Hawaii again. This is kind of interesting. Here's more pictures of the burned out wreckage. It turns out Hawaii is not pursuing a criminal investigation into the devastating wildfires on the island of Maui that have so far claimed at least 111 lives. Hawaii Attorney General Ann Lopez is conducting a comprehensive review, but Governor Josh Green says it is not a formal criminal or civil investigation into the cause of the fire and the response that followed. Green says the review is about learning how Hawaii can keep residents safer going forward. Weekly jobless claims are down. Department of Labor is saying that initial requests for unemployment benefits came in at 239,000 for the week ending August 12th. That is a decrease of 11,000 from the previous week. So it could be, appears to be, that more people are either finding work or they're just not looking for work anymore. Let's talk about this new video. This isn't one, Nikki, I'll tell you. It's shown on MSNBC last night, and it appears to show former President Trump advisor Roger Stone plotting to overthrow the 2020 election by changing state electors. The footage was reportedly filmed 2 days before the election was called for Biden. In the video, Stone says, any legislative body may decide on the basis of overwhelming evidence of fraud to send electors to the Electoral College who actually reflect the president's legitimate victory in their state. On tape, saying this. Is Roger Stone headed back to prison? I don't know. We'll see. A couple companies suspending their ads on X, formerly known as Twitter, after they ran alongside pro-Nazi content. Yeah, maybe that's not where you want your message showcased. A report published Wednesday by nonprofit news watchdog Media Matters for America found several mainstream brands have been advertised on the account that promotes fascism. Owner Elon Musk has said the site has seen a nearly 50% drop in revenue since he bought the platform last year. There you go.
I still don't understand. Hold on, let me just read
Another
this
reason
again.
why, right?
Oh, okay. I mean, Twitter, I put x.com in, right? Every time.
Right.
I mean, we were just talking about branding and everything like that. I put x.com in, it goes automatically back to twitter.com when it loads. That's weird, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
It is weird. I mean, you think if you're going to do it, do it.
Do it.
If you're gonna switch over, then make the big old grand switch,
Elon
right?
Musk, it's another wackadoo, whatever. He's smart, but wackadoo.
North Carolina lawmakers are overriding the governor over multiple bills addressing gender. Enough Republicans voted in favor of pushing against vetoes issued by the Democratic Governor Roy Cooper yesterday. One bill restricts gender-affirming care for minors. Another bans transgender females from taking part in women's athletics. So North Carolina getting strict with that. As many cities in California start to enforce a new ban on homeless encampments, a real estate company is also releasing a report about affordable housing. The real estate company Home Bay gathers data from across the country. The analysis shows a very clear correlation between a lack of affordable housing and high rates of homelessness. They say expensive cities have more people on the streets. In San Diego County, the median price for a house, condo, or townhouse recently rose to $835,000. Los Angeles County, $990,000 median price. So I don't know how many people are able to afford that.
I don't understand why that's hard for people to understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh no, it's Democratic policies. It's the fact that housing's too friggin' expensive. Like, it all starts with affordability. It all starts with affordability. Yes, mental illness, drugs, blah, blah, blah. Affordability, being able to, now I will knock California on this. We have way too many rules in order to build housing. It just, it slows it down. Contractor companies don't want to build because of all the restrictions and rules and all that kind of stuff. We need to streamline it much more quickly. Because you're talking about housing though, real quickly, this morning I was watching the news and the first thought I had in my mind after I heard this story, I was like, great, housing prices are going to go up. San Jose, my hometown, was named as one of the best places, the second best place in the country to raise a family. Okay. Now, there's some stupid math algorithm thing that they use for that, because the first one was in Alabama, which I'm like, I don't know about that, but that's all I thought. I was like, great, you're gonna put this on some sort of news article, like I heard, and now everyone's gonna be like, oh, let's live and bring our family to San Jose. Great.
No, they won't, because they won't be able to afford to live and bring their family to San Jose.
They're
gonna be like, do you want me to pay how much for a house? No, thank you. Lastly, NBA star James Harden may still be in a little bit of shock after Chinese fans bought 10,000 bottles of wine from his brand in a matter of seconds on a live stream event. The Philadelphia 76ers guard was visiting the country to promote J. Harden wine. It's 2 bottles for $60. Online celebrity Crazy Brother Yang stunned the star Tuesday when he showed off the power of his reach during the stream on the Chinese version of TikTok. Offered it for sale, had Jay Harden on, seconds.
Like that.
The backup sold in seconds. So Harden was so excited he did a big old cartwheel, I guess, for that.
Hell yeah.
How fast it sold out. This is the Nikki Medoro Show. We are crowdfunded. We do appreciate you checking our website out. The NikkiMedoroShow.com, Patreon link there, PayPal link there, and thank you for anything you can do. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. All right, so we will get back to all the topics surrounding what it means to be a woman in 2023. But before that, we have to welcome our friend, as we do every Thursday, with his brand spanking new background, Kim McAllister, and that is our friend Jefferson Graham from Photowalks TV. I am loving the new background, my friend.
Thank you very much. Did it just for you.
There
Jefferson,
we go.
Get out of the road. Get out of the street.
I know, right? Exactly. Now, tell us a little bit about creating this background, because you sent me also a picture. Can I show you? I'm going to show the picture right now. This is kind of what it looks like beyond the little formatting that he has right there. There he is. That's all that goes into being Jefferson Graham and setting up this backdrop right there.
Yeah.
I like your mic.
Oh, thank you. It's an XLR microphone. So basically, I had that picture that's above me of the, I think it's the road in Solvang, California that I love, but I wanted something really big. And that print was 30 by 40. 30 by 40. I got like huge print, and it's tiny. When you put it on the wall, it's tiny. And I wanted something bigger. And I saw these banners at FedEx office that say you can hang them outside your business, right? And so I said, I want one of those. And they said, great, how big do you want it? And I said 3 by 5. I think that's 3 feet by 5 feet. And so they said, well, when do you want it by? And I said, I really don't care, whenever. And they said, well, how's tomorrow afternoon?
That works.
And I said, wonderful. And so it's $100, and I bought it and I put it in the back, and I think it looks pretty great.
I think it looks
great.
I
had to make it low for the camera. So as you can tell, it's kind of low on the wall.
Yeah. But, so there's Jefferson. That's how it looks right there.
Yeah.
And then there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody at the store, they kept coming up to me and said, where did you get that picture? That is a famous place, right? And then, well, that's this road in Monument Valley. Arizona, which is it's been used in so many movies. In the Forrest Gump movie, it's only 1993, but it's where Forrest Gump decided to stop running and gave up. And it's been in a whole lot of cartoons. It's been in Back to the Future 3. It's been in zillions. And yes, it's called Forrest Gump Road. It's officially called Forrest Gump Road.
Really?
Yeah. And all these people come and they get out of their car and they take pictures and they do selfies and they run into the middle of the street, which is what I did to get the shot.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Do you feel like maybe you might want to have a different, and I know this is this would be an expenditure for $100, but do you feel like maybe you might want to have a different backdrop picture for every season? Like in the summer, have one of the beach pictures that you take. In the winter, maybe a snowy wonderland. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, that's fine. And they actually said to me, well, how long are you going to keep it up? And I said, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months. They said, okay, fine. And it's thumbtacks. I use or push pins. That's what I'm using to put it in the wall. So really easily, I could get a whole bunch of them and change them all the time. Maybe how about every Thursday? Every Thursday we'll do a new one.
Well, there you go.
That's $100 a week. I don't know.
You can rotate them.
I am a crowd-funded guest.
There you go.
I accept super chat. Yes.
There you go. Jefferson Graham, Photowalks TV, right here on YouTube. And again, go to Photowalks TV because Jefferson helps all of us take better pictures with something as simple as our cell phone. Although obviously Jefferson's a professional, he has other types of cameras as well.
That's on the iPhone. That picture back there.
I just want to show it again because I mean it really is, and I know he's sitting in front of it, but look at the color, look at that picture. I mean, and the picture above it as well. Last week, if you missed the show last week and the week before, we were talking about Jefferson's month-long road trip. Amazing pictures that he took there. So definitely check it out on Photowalks TV right here on YouTube. But right now, you're talking about the stars and not celebrities, Jefferson. The stars in the sky.
Right. So when I was in South Dakota, I actually went to a photo workshop about shooting the night skies because the skies in South Dakota are very dark. And everybody else was shooting on big cameras and I was shooting on the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy S23. So let me just first of all, watch the video. I'll give you detailed information about it. It's up now. But there's something in the iPhone called night mode. Night mode only comes on when it's dark, when Apple decides that it's dark enough and you need the night mode to basically keep your shutter open longer to get in the night skies and the stars. And if you put your iPhone on a tripod and you take it off auto and put it to the maximum, which is 30 seconds, you can keep the shutter open for 30 seconds and you can get the Milky Way in your shot. If you're in an area that's dark, I mean, you couldn't do this in downtown San Jose.
Look at that sky.
But so that one was actually done on the Galaxy. The Galaxy has an add-on app from Samsung called Expert RAW, and it lets you keep the shutter open. That one was open for 20 seconds, and I got the Milky Way on a cell phone camera. How amazing is that?
Thing. Wow.
Yeah. That is just amazing.
But you have to be on a tripod.
And then this one also you did on the Galaxy, or is this the iPhone as well?
That's on the iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I can't take pictures like this with my phone. I have to try.
Well, you can. I'll meet you in San Jose. We'll jump in the car. We'll drive to Lancaster.
Oh, there you go.
10 o'clock one night, we'll take those pictures and we'll surprise everybody, right?
I love that you bring up the darkness of the sky because obviously it's light pollution that inhibits a lot of us taking pictures from, light poles and buildings and everything like that. Is there a way of if you can't drive to Lancaster, if you can't drive to some of these places, of minimizing the light pollution to try to enhance the light in the sky?
Don't know about that, but you could try your best. This is a trial and error game, and you just keep it on until you get something. So in the video, I show a lot of my rejects that I did on the Galaxy because it took me a while to get to that shot. And you could just keep trying and play around in Photoshop and Lightroom to fix it up later. I did a little Photoshop work, a little Lightroom work actually, which is another program from Adobe, basically to make the skies just a little clear. It's a button called dehaze, which takes some of the haze away. Yeah, Ricky Ober. I think I know Ricky. I rarely stop on the road for photos. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching Photowalks too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those shows where, like I mentioned, every time you come on, I have this phone in my hand and I always buy the new one because I think that the camera's going to be great, and I never seem to use it properly. So Jefferson helps us use our phones that we spend way too much money on properly, because we don't need fancy schmancy stuff. Lori says Pinnacles National Monument is low light pollution area. Have you been to Pinnacles National Monument?
I have not been to Pinnacles. I've been to Flagstaff. Flagstaff, Arizona is a dark city. It's an official dark city. And I took pictures up by the observatory one night, and it was unbelievable to stand out there and look up at the skies.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Jefferson, that, I think a lot of us don't even notice how much light pollution there is, right? It's, you just drive around, and then when you try to take amazing pictures like I was just showing, you realize it can be very difficult to do.
It can be tough, but get in the car and get out of town. That's really the best idea. Now, Flagstaff is a major city, a small major city, but it's a major city, and they have that dark designation, as do many of the places in South Dakota.
Perfect. All right, Jefferson Graham, thank you so much. Again, go to Photowalks TV. He has the video. You'll see all the ways that he takes some of the pictures that he takes, and has the best tips for you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, I just love star pictures. If I could be, I'd be blowing up those pictures all over the place, Kim. I don't know how you even decide which picture is the best picture to choose, right?
If you look through his photos, there's no way I would be able to decide. There's so many pretty pictures.
Right.
Yeah. He has some beach pictures. He goes down and he'll get the sun going down right through a pier. So cool. The pictures are gorgeous, and just beach pictures that he takes, and the colors, pictures of waves. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah.
And also you come go to, again, Photowalks TV on YouTube. Also, like the tips and tricks of using all the different features of delay, and he has the tripod and all sorts of things. It's really simple things that you could do to take those amazing pictures. And he is here every Thursday. And again, we've moved the show, so around 10 o'clock in the morning is when Jefferson Graham comes on. Okay, so let's go back to our discussion regarding the role of women in 2023. I had mentioned the Barbie movie earlier and Taylor Swift, huge economic drivers. So we were talking before Jefferson Graham in the news about the traditional wife, not getting the job, not getting the career, staying home and doing that. On the other end of the spectrum are people like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, these amazing, powerful women whose art and talent not only makes them a ton of money. I think I wrote it down. Hold on. So Taylor Swift will likely surpass $1 billion in gross ticket sales during this current Eras tour. At each city on her route, the tour has generated tens of millions of dollars in economic revenue, leading to an estimated $5 billion boost to the U.S. economy. You might not like their music. You may not listen to Taylor Swift or Beyonce or whomever, but they make money for your town when they show up. And so I'm not knocking the people and the women that want to, my job, and whether it's because of a certain religion or not, I want to submit to my husband, let him make the decisions, and not have a career on my own. But you cannot deny that there are very powerful women out there doing amazing things. But there's also, the conflict and the criticism regarding, their talent and what they actually do and whether they get credit for it, right? I mean, I think the headline regarding the Barbie movie is, Mattel's going to make more movies about toys. No, the headline is you need to have more women making movies, directing movies, giving them the funding to make the movies that they make, because we have proven that we can be these economic drivers.
I was watching this interview with Taylor Swift, and she was talking about being criticized. And she's saying, there's some people who say I'm not a good songwriter, or I don't have any talent or whatever. And they, it's a way of keeping me down and discounting me, because obviously I'm a good songwriter and I have talent, because look at the numbers, look at my success. So you can say that, but it doesn't compute when you're looking at it in this other way. So it's a way of taking this woman who's achieved phenomenal success and pushing them down. Like they shouldn't be lifted up or celebrated for the success they've achieved.
Right.
It drives me crazy. And it's that part of, I guess, I don't want to say, I don't want it to be a down with men kind of show, because there are plenty of men in the world who celebrate the success of women. I think my husband wants me to be successful because his success and my success only equal our success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
all on the same team.
We're all on the same team. So, why he would want me to, stay in the kitchen, little lady, doesn't even make any sense.
Now, Chris says this. Look at Chris's comment. If I started life as a woman, my husband would be out there working his ass off while I was relaxing at home. Now, again, I want to clarify, traditional wives do work in the house. I will say this, even women that don't consider themselves trad wives, right? But they stay at home with their kids and all that. Mm-hmm. They work their ass off. If you paid women for the work they do at home, that would be another economic driver, right? I mean, we would be making so much money. Men, if this is the situation of a man and a wife type of thing, depend on the woman to stay at home. Otherwise, they would have to pay somebody to do all those jobs, pay somebody to take the kids, pay someone to clean the house, pay somebody to do all that kind of stuff. Right. So let's not act like women aren't working, even if they do stay home. There's not relaxing unless you have like
eating bonbons on the couch.
Right. Yeah. Like we're not, Peggy Bundy, right? With that kind of stereotypical type of housewife. No, we're working our ass off at home as well. Unless, of course, you're rich. And then I'm not talking about you, right? You can have maids and nannies and all that kind of crap.
What is a traditional trad wife now? What's a modern trad wife?
So
am I a traditional wife?
Well, you're working.
I stay at home though. I take care of my children.
Yes.
I walk around at night and pick up the cups out of everybody's room and take them to the kitchen and wash
You're
them.
Just a mom. Sorry.
I stay up late and do everybody's laundry so we all have things to wear to school tomorrow. Right.
I think it's that you don't, and I could be wrong, but everything that I've been reading, because I did go down the rabbit hole, is you do, and your family, the decisions regarding your family are made by the husband. That's what I think it is. You stay home. He decides how the money is spent. He decides, those sorts of things.
Right.
I think that's a major role of it. Yes, you're also staying home. You're making sure the house is clean to, I'm assuming, a level that he likes, because I'm sure if you were relaxing on your ass and not doing any of it, your husband would be like, well, what are you doing all day? Right. Naturally.
Well, I would say if it bothers you that there's dishes in the sink, there's sponge and the dishwashing soap is right there. Have at it.
I think that statement, you're not trad wife. You're mom. I think there's a difference there. You are not a trad wife.
If it bothers you that your coffee cup remains by your nightstand, the easy answer is to go take it to the kitchen. Yeah.
I love you, Deidre. Deidre says, my husband still expects me to do the traditional wife stuff, even though I work. Then he wants pats on the back if he helps.
Isn't that ridiculous?
So true. And thank you, Deidre, also because you threw a $20 donation into our super chat. Great show today, ladies. I'll tell everyone in San Diego about you next week. Please do. Thank you. Thank you. But you're right. And Vicky also with the $10 donation. Thanks for the status of women topic. It's important to kind of scratch the surface. And I love all of the men also in our chat room weighing in on this, because I'm going to tell you, you cannot, in my opinion, have a conversation about the role of women without talking to men. Mm-hmm. Because there are going to be men that are going to support you and elevate you and be like, you know what, you want to do this, you want to do that, knock yourself out. My husband, very much a supporter of whatever I choose to do. We have conversations about it, but he is not the sole decision maker for our family. It's not a life that, and I don't have the personality to be a trad wife. That's just not going to happen.
No, that's not going to fly. We have a rule in our house. If the expenditure is over like $200,
right,
it's a discussion. Like we talk about whether that's money that we want to spend or not. And I'm saying both of us, unless it's an obvious, we have to have it, your car broke down, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's just a random thing that maybe we need to budget for, or maybe we need to discuss, do we really need that? Then it's a partnership discussion. We talk about things like that.
Absolutely.
And so I can't imagine. My stepmother tells me stories about my dad, who he's this kind of car guy, and he used to like to he'd get a kind of bug up his rear end, and he'd want a new car. And so he'd go down and trade it in, and in the driveway would roll this,
oh, hell no.
And there would be no discussion. Like all of a sudden there's another car in the driveway, and she's like, what's happening? Like, this isn't, you don't buy a something as large as a car without talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
No, you do not do that. That's insane.
Like, I'm trading this one in, I'm buying this one, and why does anyone need to weigh in on that? And she's like, yeah, that's not how this is going to work. No.
It's funny because I could see if you were in the traditional wife kind of role, though,
right,
the man would be like, I made this money, I'll say this. It's, if you don't make any money in the traditional form outside of the house, right? I really do think it creates, and this is just an outsider looking in because I've never lived this way, but the balance of power is naturally skewed. Because if he comes home, just to bring up your example, with a new car or a traded in car, and the wife who's not working, let's just say, and is not bringing in dollars in that sense outside of the home, is like, why didn't you discuss this with me? I could see the husband being like, why would I?
It's my money.
Is my money.
But
right?
It's not.
And
when you're in a relationship, a marriage, it's not my money, it's our money. And it doesn't matter if you're working or not. There have been times in this marriage, thanks KGO, when I haven't been working, right? And there have been times in the tech sector when maybe he's between jobs or whatever. Less likely than my situation, but it's happened. And so, there are times when maybe I'm supporting us and he's supporting us, and it's all balance. It's a balance. And you in the best case scenario, everyone's bringing in the same amount and sharing the load, but that's not life, and that's not how it works. So I don't care who's making the money at the time. It's team money.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, like I go back to saying, the only way that husband is able to go to work to make that money is because the woman is at home allowing him, because she takes care of everything he doesn't have to worry about. I have had friends who have been divorced and stayed home, right? Stayed home when they had babies, and they were fine with that. That was an agreement. But then when they got divorced, guess who got the money? Guess who wasn't, contributing to Social Security, right? Yep. Guess who has a big gap on their resume? There's no money that you're paid out necessarily besides alimony, which cannot last, or child support that can only last as long as they wanted to. There is a sacrifice that women make for themselves by being at home. And that's a lot of trust that nothing is going to go wrong. And that man has been making moves in his career. He's moved up the corporate ladder. He's making more money and getting those raises and contributing to his own Social Security. So it's a tough kind of conversation that you need to have within your marriage. But I think that I would err women on the side of having your own plan, just in case. And God forbid, just in case the poor guy dies, right? And you're up S Creek, because did you have a plan? Did he have life insurance? Do you know? Right? Do you know any of those things? Are you in charge of any of those things? Or are you just submitting or, giving up all that decision making to somebody else? It's hard. Now let's go back to Taylor Swift real quickly, because Arizona State University now has a course for Taylor Swift. It's called Psychology of Taylor Swift, Advanced Topics of Social Psychology. It was released on August 10th. It is available to students this fall semester. When you hear me say that there is a psychology class having to do with Taylor Swift, how many of you say education's going to hell in a handbasket, right? I mean, it sounds odd, right? Like, why do we need to talk about Taylor Swift until you look at some of the topics in this class? So it's called Psych 408. That's what it is in the course catalog. Okay. And it says that you'll learn about advanced topics of social psychology that feature Taylor Swift's work, her life, and her fans, including romantic relationships, fiction, escapism, revenge, and social development. So in a statement, this PhD student in the Department of Psychology said the course is not a fan club meeting. It'll connect a theme from a Swift album to a topic in social psychology. So, for instance, Taylor Swift's sixth album called Reputation, which was the last concert I went to. An amazing album, by the way. It's her comeback after disappearing from the spotlight due to conflicts with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. I don't know if you guys are up on your celebrity news, but it was very iconic. Taylor Swift, I think she had won her first VMA award, and Beyonce had lost to her, and Kanye West ran up on stage, grabbed it, and said, "I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it went on the microphone and said, "Beyonce had the best album, blah, 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 blah." Took that moment away from Taylor Swift, right? Beyonce then won an award during that same award show and did not make a speech and gave it to Taylor Swift. I mentioned that because that once again is, and I'm not trying to man bash, but a man trying to dictate the success of a woman, taking that moment from her, and who gives it back to her? Not him. Another woman, right? It's this elevating of women that needs to happen more and more. If you're waiting for anybody else, women out there, to elevate you, you're going to be waiting, unfortunately, a long time. Yes, we need male advocates, but it is the woman uplifting the woman that is very, very important. So that's one thing that this Taylor Swift psychology class is going to be talking about. Talking about revenge, talking about Reputation, which again is the name of her album. In an interview on the website, this researcher said students can relate to course material when it impacts their own lives, when they could see it within their own lives, and yeah, I think that it's pretty interesting to look at things like that. They're also going to talk about the impact that, let's just say, Taylor Swift albums, her concert have on people. Look at the concert that our daughters went to, Kim, right? Literally. From the friendship bracelets to people helping out, the fact that Kim and myself were able to send our daughter to this concert in the way that we were just goes to show the impact that this artist has had on people. I mean, what other artists do you know where people are like, you know what, I know it's so important to go? It's a cultural phenomenon right now. Yeah, it's really interesting. One of my favorite Taylor Swift songs of late, and I have a lot because I'm a total Swiftie. It's called "The Man," and I don't know if you've ever listened. Do you know the song "The Man"? It's really good. You'll love that song. But basically, it's Taylor Swift talking about the difference between being a woman in business, in life, and being a man, and it goes as far as being listened to. You can be angry if you're a man because then you're called a boss. You could date around because that's fine, right? You could do all of these things if I was a man. How quickly I would move up if I was a man. How differently I would be judged if I was a man. There's so many parts of, and I know I'm getting off on my Taylor Swift box right now, but there's so many parts of her songs and her business acumen that I think totally justify
I'm just
for having
thinking
her own class.
back to the songs that I can remember, like "It's Me, I'm the Problem, It's Me."
Yes.
You know that one?
Yeah.
When you think about all of her songs are based on real life problems, feelings that she had, observations of society. So while it seems silly to see a class based on pop music, it also makes a lot of sense because it's based on the current reality, especially for people that are fans of hers and going through the same experiences as young people. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And again, there's all just a side note regarding the song she chooses and the lyrics and where she grabs. It is from her real life. Yeah. I remember an interview she gave this was a long ago interview, but that I saw recently. And she said something to the effect of, girls at my school used to leave me out. Like everyone would be invited to a party except her. And they would say it out loud and she'd be within earshot or whatever. And she would say to herself, "That's okay. I'll go home and I'll write a song about this." But now I'm thinking, has it gone where she doesn't know how, like, it's okay if things fall apart in her life? Like she doesn't, and I'm totally just judging right now, but it's okay that she breaks up with guys, or that the relationship doesn't work, or that because now she's going to make money off it. It's like the ultimate own. But I do not worry about her because you don't need a man, right? But it's like she is very successful. And she does seem to love, right? Like and she just broke up with her boyfriend of like 4 years, which makes you wonder, right? Like, are you so caught in the cycle of it's okay that this ends because I can make money in a song about it, that how about making it work? I don't know. I'd love to see her.
I think it's more the lifestyle of somebody who's touring,
That's,
somebody who's
yeah, you're probably right.
famous. It's
Yeah.
got to be hard to find someone who is okay being not the star of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
man who's willing to be in the shadows and supporting you. And I don't know. I
She
would
has
think
to
it's
date somebody on that
challenging.
level. Exactly. Because they understand
Yeah.
the pressure, the lens that you're under constantly.
Yeah.
I love John's comment though. He says, every time you see her, she's with some dude who looks like the Greek god Adonis. Yeah. And so, and when you look at
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Who do you see him with? Model after model. Tom Brady, model after model, right?
Right.
But when it's a woman that does it, sometimes they're judged differently for it. Like, oh, you have
Right.
another hot guy? Yeah, I have another hot guy. I'm a hot chick. Why the hell not? Right?
Right.
Like, and you don't necessarily, because when it's on the flip side, remember when Julia Roberts dated what's his face, that country music star, married him.
Lyle
and he-
Lovett.
Thank you. Not the most traditionally attractive dude, right? And everyone's like, how could Julia Roberts be married to this? Well, you can't win for lose. It's just, who gives a crap, right? I like the person. I'm with the person, those sorts of things. But I bet you're right, Kim. I think it has more to do with the lifestyle that these things don't last. It has to be tough to date Taylor Swift. It has to be extremely difficult.
I think she's young. She's 32, I think, 32 or 33. She's got time. She'll find somebody. And if she wants to have a family or she doesn't, whatever. But she's set herself up for, she could never make another record again. She could never do anything else again. And she'll be A-okay.
She really is amazing. I know. Mm-hmm. I'm still on my, although, and then I'm going to see another amazing woman, Beyonce, who I also just mentioned. I'm going to see her in like a week or two. And so I'm very excited about that. I think, we do, just to kind of put a final point on our whole conversation regarding this, we need to celebrate the woman in all her roles. Right. And again, in regards to the trad wife thing, you want to live that life? Fine. There are consequences to it, but that is your life. When you start trying to impose those quote unquote traditional values and the traditional role of women on the rest of women like me and Kim and others, no, you can keep that within the doors of your own house. I'll live my life the way I want to live. Like, yeah. Okay. So, in the last 20 minutes though, I want to touch and another successful woman, Sandra Bullock, won an Oscar. Right? Won an Oscar for the movie The Blindside. Now it's come out that the Tuohy family, Sean and Leanne Tuohy, Sandra Bullock played Leanne Tuohy, they are being sued by former NFL star Michael Oher. Now, Michael Oher was the focus of The Blindside. Have you seen the movie, Kim?
Yeah, I liked the movie.
I liked the movie. I thought it was really sweet. Now I understand why Michael Oher, he did not like the portrayal of himself in that movie because they made it seem like he was slow and he couldn't read and do all these. There was a lot of focus on that, right? But I did like the whole story of, taking somebody in that needed help. They brought him into their home. Now, it did in the movie, from what I understand, make it seem like they adopted him. Okay. Now, I haven't seen the movie again to just make sure that they use the word adopt. But apparently, Michael Oher just found out that he was not adopted, that it was actually a conservatorship. And he's taking issue because he says that because it's a conservatorship, that they have control over his business dealings and that they've taken a ton of money from The Blindside. They're saying no, that they did not do it. Apparently, they're also saying that Michael's done this before, that he said that he was apparently, according to the Tuohys, I read it yesterday, he threatened them before he went public with this story. He wanted like $15 million or something from them. And he says, if you don't do it, I'm going to come out with a negative story that's going to paint you in a negative light. Now I'm going to let this lawsuit play out. One, I think that he's hurt that he's not adopted. I think that hurt him. But if all the facts as I've read them are true, you can't adopt anybody after they're 18 years old, which is how old Michael allegedly was when this whole thing came down. It could only be a conservatorship. And the reason why they wanted the conservatorship is because the NCAA was really questioning why they had Michael in their house, because they're Ole Miss fans and he wanted to go to Ole Miss. And so they're like, well, let's just make it official. You're part of our family. We consider you part of our family. And that's how it happened.
But
So
don't tell someone they've been adopted if they really haven't. I don't
right.
know. I mean, was that an assumption that he made, or how did they say, we're adopting you, but you're not officially adopted. It's like telling me that, I signed a marriage certificate, but I really signed a certificate of domestic partnership. There's a difference.
Absolutely. There's a
so I want to know what I'm really involved in here.
Right. But now, because of all this controversy regarding the lawsuit and what people don't know, some people are demanding that Sandra Bullock return her Oscar that she won for playing Leanne Tuohy. Now,
what does one thing have to do with the other?
I just have no idea why anybody would think that Sandra Bullock should play a role in this lawsuit at all. Does it suck? Yeah. Lori, you're absolutely correct. This is stupid. Bullock's Oscar is for acting, not for factual reporting. I think it would be appropriate for her to comment if his assertions are true, since she did involve herself in their lives. Yeah, I think I remember. I think I remember during Sandra Bullock's acceptance speech that she even referenced Leanne Tuohy. I think the Tuohys were obviously there. Like, they were in the background. You could hear her screaming and everything like that. But at the same time, do you expect Oscar actors to do all the research? No, they're handed a script that you would assume the director, the writer, the screenwriter had done their due diligence in creating. And Randy, I do believe that you're correct. Randy says, my understanding is that Michael Oher could have ceased the conservatorship whenever he wanted to. Yeah, the Tuohys have come out and said, look, if he wants to end the conservatorship, he can. But again, I think that this more has to do possibly with some hurt feelings regarding the fact that he wasn't actually adopted. I want to play you a little bit of this news report from ABC. I hope I have it queued up correctly. But this is just the Tuohy family kind of responding to the lawsuit.
The Tuohy's attorney calling the accusations hurtful and absurd, telling ABC News the notion they would connive to withhold a few $1,000s in profit participation payments from anyone, let alone from someone they loved as a son, defies belief. And court documents, or alleging he and the Tuohys signed what he thought were adoption papers in 2004 after he had turned 18, after nearly 2 decades, or claims he discovered in February that they had signed a conservatorship agreement. In his suit, Oher says the couple enriched themselves at the expense of a gullible young man whose athletic talent could be exploited for their own benefit. The Tuohys denying taking 1 penny from the arrangement, adding should Mr. Oher wish to terminate the conservatorship either now or at any time in the future, the Tuohys will never oppose it in any way.
And you guys are correct in mentioning they're rich. I mean, they don't need the money. I mean, I think that and I'm not going to speak for them, but I would imagine the good PR, like people like to be, there's a movie made about me, like who doesn't like that, right? Puts me in a great light. But it's also this idea of the white savior, right? The story of the Blindside it's not really told from Michael's side. It's told from the Tuohy side, from Leanne Tuohy's side specifically, right? I mean, so I could see how it could rub the wrong way. Another thing that I was thinking of, Kim, and I don't know if this is true, just the word conservatorship. Everything, we learned so much with the Britney Spears thing. So I could, even possibly see, wait, I'm not adopted and now there's a conservatorship? What? You think that I'm like, let's just say Britney Spears, where I need to be watched over in that way, or that I'm losing my autonomy or something like that? I could understand why he could possibly make the jump of, I don't need a conservator. I was an 18-year-old man. Why if you wanted to adopt me and make me officially part of your family, that's one thing. But again, you can't adopt somebody if they're an adult. That's not how it works. So I do feel bad for him though. Vilma with a good question. I wonder if there are people pushing Michael Oher to go ahead with this lawsuit. I kind of thought the same thing. And I, not to say that it is or it isn't, but he has a family now, right? I mean, what if he's sitting with his wife and his wife's like, wait, wait a minute, like you're not adopted, and they Do you know how much money then they made off the movie? Not saying she's doing this. I'm just saying there could be questions as it's taking you this long, which still blows my mind.
When was that movie made? I mean, it's been out for
2009.
Yeah, I mean, come
It's
on.
a long time.
Yeah.
But I again, and then the actor that played him in the movie even says, like, it is, you guys, everyone needs to stop with this whole idea that Sandra Bullock, who just played a role, needs to come out and apologize for anything and to let them go.
Actors are not reporters.
No.
I mean, I think it's unreasonable to think that, or to require an actor to mount an investigative report into a story before they sign on to tell the story.
Right.
If the story is based on a reality or a true story, as this was presented, then isn't that on the director or the people who made the movie when they, before the credits, when they say based on a true story, isn't that their, thing to be able to tell us whether it's true or whether it isn't true? I don't know. I just feel like she played a role. She played a role, and she has no connection to interpersonal relationships between Michael Oher and the Tuohys. They clearly have some strained relationship happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because maybe they mistreated him, or maybe it's because he needs money now, or whatever the thing is that's causing the stress in that relationship. But one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah. Now, Natalie says, but you can adopt an adult. I think it's state by state. From what I understand, I think the state that they wanted to, I'm assuming Mississippi, right? Might have different rules regarding that, because they made it clear that they could not adopt him. It had to be a conservatorship, and they wanted it to be on the up and up. Apparently they brought his mother there. I have no idea. So it was something like that. But yeah, you're correct, Natalie, that I think some states do allow a different process if you want to. It's an adult adoption process. But from what I've read, that was not available to the Tuohys. Luis writes in, so idiotic. Let's bring murder charges against Cillian Murphy for playing a guy who built something that killed hundreds of thousands. I think acting is acting. I had mentioned earlier, and I'm going to bring it up again. Bradley Cooper is facing his own freaking controversy now for playing Leonard Bernstein's. Is it Bernstein's or Bernstein?
Bernstein, I think.
Bernstein. Okay. Mm-hmm. So apparently he's playing him in this movie, Maestro, and they put a little bit of a prosthetic nose on him. I'm going to show you the picture of Bradley Cooper and Leonard Bernstein. Okay, so there you go. So Bradley Cooper's on the right, Leonard Bernstein's on the left. This movie is premiering, I guess, at the Venice Film Festival. Now they're saying, not only are they saying they should not have used the prosthetic because it gives somebody Jew face, that's what they're calling it, and that's offensive. Okay.
That term sounds offensive to me.
It is, right? That's what they're saying. That's what they're calling it. That's just the term that I've read. But also, now how do you feel about this? Also, that Bradley Cooper should never have gotten the role because he's not Jewish.
Oh, God, this again.
That there's Jewish actors that should have played him before Bradley Cooper. Now,
wow.
I know we talk about this a lot with, transgender actors. We talked about it with Little People, right? With the whole Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs movie. How far do we go down this road? Does everybody, why don't they get anybody named Leonard? My name's Leonard. Why didn't I get the role as that sort of thing? How far do we go? It needs to be so... I don't know.
I'm confused as to why it's okay. I think it's great that we had a young Black woman play Ariel in the Little Mermaid. Okay. I think it's great. I don't think we need, I haven't seen the movie, but I don't think we need to pigeonhole people and, peg them into certain roles based on their appearance. I think anybody can play anyone, right? In this particular case, he was trying to look like the person he was portraying. And so the prosthetic nose was used. And if you look at the side picture you had shown there was kind of a sharp angular feature to the nose. And I don't know what ethnicity you want to ascribe it to. I just look at it as a facial feature and him trying to look like the
Thank
character he's
you.
playing. So that's fine. But if we're accepting now of different races playing different roles that we traditionally thought of as, appearing one way and now another, then why does it matter which actor gets the role to play which part?
Well, Leonard Bernstein's children have defended Bradley Cooper from online critics who, again, this is the quote, accuse the actor of quote unquote Jew face for allegedly wearing a prosthetic nose. This is what they said. Bradley Cooper, they first said their late father, who was Jewish, had a nice big nose and would have been fine with this, Bradley Cooper. They said Bradley Cooper included the three of us along every step of his amazing journey as he made his film about our father. We're touched to the core to witness the depth of his commitment, his loving embrace of our father's music, and the sheer open-hearted joy he brought to his exploration. It breaks our hearts to see any misrepresentations or misunderstandings of his efforts. And I think that's also a good point. It's like this actor is doing the deep dive, right? Becoming this person, learning about this person, working closely with the family, which I do think is very, very important. And so, yeah, it's just, I feel like let's just let the art play out. Let's see what it looks like. Yes, I think that directors should look at all types of people for roles. But if you're making a movie and you want to draw eyeballs, is there anything wrong with getting a big name star like Bradley Cooper to do it?
No,
right?
not at all.
I mean, it's just, and again, like I said at the beginning of the show, when everything is a battle, nothing becomes a battle. Everything gets diluted. Pick the battles that matter. Prosthetics, they've been used in movies forever. Forever. This is not new. This is not new at all.
Are the people critical of having a non-Jewish person play a Jewish person, saying that a Jewish actor can never play a Christian role?
Exactly.
Or a Muslim role? Or it's just ridiculous. Let people go through the casting process and see who's the best person for the part, regardless of their personal religion or their personal appearance, and see where it lands, who gets the role. None of that should matter. That's dumb.
Yeah, Sierra says, I'm a Jew and I think this is stupid. It's called acting. It comes with costumes and prosthetics. Exactly. It's just, we really need to just let people, because again, we're being distracted, I feel like, with these things that don't truly matter. Definitely in art and movies, you want representation. You want people to get an opportunity to play roles. But you also have to pick and choose. I don't think this is the right battle. John says, whiners. If they didn't make him look more like Leonard, then they would probably complain about him not looking like Leonard. Yes, you are absolutely correct. In this day and age, people just need something to complain about. Vilma, give me a break. Actors are just that. Actors. They can be Jewish, Hispanic. They must play it well. Exactly. If he does a good job,
right.
If you do a terrible job at it, you'll get tons of criticism for it.
That's right.
But, I feel like this is just not the thing to complain about. And Bradley Cooper's an amazing actor. That's so sad. All right.
Oh, we have people to thank.
Yes, we do. I was just about to do that. So the super chat, of course, is live during the show, outside the show. Harry, love you. You always start us off, even before the show starts. Harry starts us off with that $5 sticker. We love you, dude. Hula Staff with the $3 super sticker. Thank you, Hula Staff. We appreciate each and every dollar.
Aloha.
Vicky and Sausalito. Nikki, thanks for the status of women topic. Thank you for the $10 donation. Deidre, $20. Thank you. Great show today, ladies. I'll tell everyone in San Diego about you next week. Yeah, and tell us about your trip.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate our community. And then Lori with a $20 donation from our friend Daniel D. And thank you. I have a picture of Daniel I will show tomorrow. I forgot to download it. Sent us $64 for 8 Kona big waves for Maui relief. Thank you,
nice.
Dan. Thank you. And dock workers taking donations to fill a shipping container at North Point and Mission SF today and Friday. Google it. Thank you, Lori.
Yep.
We appreciate and love you guys so much. So again, be like all of our fans. You could donate to the super chat if you can. Also, please become a Medorable. It's so simple. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Click the Patreon link, become a monthly subscriber. It's a one-time a month donation, just one time a month. And you're like, check, I've supported my favorite ladies doing my favorite show. And you decide the amount. And we thank you so much for doing that. Tomorrow's Friday food. I have no idea what I'm eating. So email me, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Let me know what I should eat.
When you have no idea, it usually means you're going to end up in the kitchen making something.
I know. Should I make
know.
my zucchini fries that I've been eating ad nauseum because I've been obsessed with them lately? I don't know.
Because I think maybe we all might need that recipe.
It's very easy. I might make it. Now my stomach's growling from my zucchini fries. So we'll definitely, that's on the list. But if there's something else, let me know. Friday food. Hopefully we'll get Stephen Espanola on tomorrow to talk about the Maui benefit that they're possibly doing. So join us tomorrow at 9. Go to Mark Thompson, then the After Party Live. I have put the links under the channels button on this page. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.